What's going on, guys? You're watching the Amusement Park Guide, and today I'm going to be doing my very first roller coaster analysis. And in this video, we'll be discussing CANDYMONIUM at Hersheypark, their new for 2020 B&M Hypercoaster. Now, before I really get into this video, for those of you that are not subscribed to my channel, this is not my regularly scheduled programming. I always post videos every Tuesday and Friday, but for today's video and other videos like this, I will be uploading those whenever I make the video, and y'all will be able to see what I think as soon as the video comes out instead of having to wait 2 months to see it, like with most of my other videos. Also, very quickly before I start, I haven't been to Hersheypark before, so I'll be giving y'all an analysis purely based on what I know about the park and on what information has been released so far about this coaster. Okay, now that that's over with, let's get on with the rest of the video. As most all of us know and have known for a while, this new ride at Hersheypark, CANDYMONIUM, is going to be a B&M hypercoaster. When Hersheypark first announced Chocolate Town, they also technically announced this coaster, but they didn't give any specific details, such as height, speed, length, etc. They also didn't announce the manufacturer either, but based on the first animations, everyone pretty much knew it was going to be a B&M. Anyway, this coaster is going to be 210 feet tall, go 76 miles per hour, and will have 4,636 feet of track, making it the tallest, fastest, and longest coaster in the park. It's going to have 3 trains, each themed to Reese's, Kisses, and Twizzlers, and the track will be a chocolate brown color. Before I really get into my thoughts on the coaster itself, I want to say very quickly that I really like the music that they used for the video. Good choice in my opinion. Let's talk first about the name. CANDYMONIUM. That name is just, I don't know what to think of it. I want to like it because it's Hersheypark. Candy is their thing. Also, the name goes really well with the whole new Chocolate Town thing, but I also want to hate it because of the pun. Now, I know that technically the name has been out there for a good while now. Variations of it have spread around the internet, and unless you live under a rock, you probably heard some variation of it at some point. Now, I'm always skeptical of rumors when they pop up early. I never 100% believe something until it is announced by the park themselves. For goodness sake, I was convinced that Copperhead Strike wasn't even going to happen because before that, Carowinds had a history of intentionally throwing people off. They had everyone fooled at the announcement of Fury 325, and I thought they were going to do the same thing here, but literally every single rumor with that ended up being true. But the whole reason I say all of that is to say that I didn't want to believe that the name was going to be CANDYMONIUM because that seemed too easy. Same went for Copperhead Strike for that matter, but whatever. So the name, I guess, is okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, mostly because of what I said earlier, but considering the theme of the area and the theme of the park in general, it's pretty good. I guess the name just sounds like a bad pun to me. I'll admit, it definitely could have been a lot worse. I'll give him that. As for the color scheme, I like it, but it just feels like it's lacking something. It's not a bad color scheme, and I really like how they implemented the different trains to be themed to different candies, hence the name CANDYMONIUM. But as for the colors themselves, I'm just not sure what to think of it. It doesn't really strike me as, wow, that's an amazing color scheme. But at the same time, it's definitely not a bad color scheme. I guess the best way to put it is that it's okay. Again, similar to the name, it definitely could have been a lot worse. Now, on to the layout itself. To me, this layout looks to be your good old airtime-filled standard B&M hyper layout. Now don't get me wrong. By standard, I don't mean that it's going to be, quote, just another B&M hypercoaster, unquote, or a clone even. By that I mean it's not going to be a hyper twister model like Raging Bull or something like that. It is going to be more or less what you would expect from a B&M hypercoaster. It doesn't look like they're going to be doing anything absolutely insane or that it's going to be the hyper version of Fury 325. I'm simply saying that B&M is not going above and beyond to make this layout a million times better than any other hypercoaster. They will be following the same formula that has worked for them for years and will be making it a layout that is unique to Hersheypark, and no other park will be getting it, nor is it the same layout as any other hyper that has existed before it. So, first things first. You go up that lift hill and down the first drop, which looks like a great first drop. After that first drop, you go into a giant airtime hill. Coming out of that airtime hill, you go into a hammerhead turnaround and then into another large airtime hill. After that, you go into a smaller airtime hill. Based on the videos that have been provided, I don't know if this will give floater or ejector, maybe flowjector, I don't know, but who really knows until we ride it. Whatever the case, After that hill, it goes into a massive upward helix, then into an overbank turn which drops you down, then you go into another airtime hill. After that airtime hill, you go into another helix, which is the helix that goes around that new front entrance fountain, which, by the way, looks really nice. It's going to be some nice eye candy. After that helix, you get a pop of airtime before coming into the brake run and turning around into the station. Overall, this looks like a good ride. It's a B&M Hyper, so obviously it's going to have some good floater airtime. I haven't ridden any that don't have good floater airtime, so there's that. Now, really quickly, before I get on to my next point, this is B&M. In the past, they made some pretty intense roller coasters. Kumba, Montu, Raptor, and just about every Batman clone out there is pretty intense. But more recently, their coasters have been more about being graceful. Not just about the intensity, but all about just being fun rides. Valraven and Gatekeeper at Cedar Point are perfect examples of that. Neither of them are super intense rides, but they are both a lot of fun, and I think CANDYMONIUM is going to be the same way. It won't be a super intense ride, but it's going to be a ton of fun. With that being said, even though I don't think it's going to be a super intense ride, I do think it will be more intense than people are going to be expecting. The reason I say that is because it's going to have those two helixes. Normally, B&M Hypers only have one helix on the ride, and the rest it's going to be airtime. On Intimidator at Carowinds, it's right after the mid-course brake run. Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia, it's after all of the giant airtime hills. Nitro, right before the mid-course. The only exception I can think of is Diamondback, which technically has one before the mid-course, and then another one right before the splashdown. But that first one isn't really a full helix. CANDYMONIUM is going to have two full 360-degree helixes, and I think because it's going to have two, it will be more intense than people are expecting. Not to mention, that Hammerhead turnaround I think is also going to be pretty intense. Again, don't get me wrong. From what I've heard, I don't think it'll be able to even touch the likes of Skyrush's intensity, but again, I do think that it will be more intense than expected. Everything else about the ride looks really good. The first drop looks like a lot of fun, and the rest of the ride's Camelback Hills look like they're going to have some great floater airtime. Something interesting is that it's going to have 3 trains, but it won't really have a mid-course brake run, meaning that it's going to be running 3 trains similar to how Fury 325 does. Now, I haven't been to Hersheypark, so I can't for certain say, but hopefully this will mean that they'll be operating the ride quite efficiently. Overall, I think this is going to be a great fit for the park. I do think it's interesting that they decided to go with another hypercoaster, but I definitely don't think that's a bad thing. Will it be the best ride in the park? Probably not. I think Skyrush will probably stay at number 1 for most people, but I think it's definitely going to be in the top 5 in the park, if not one of the top 3, and I definitely look forward to riding it when I get the chance. Probably going to be one of the best B&M hypers out there. I appreciate everyone watching the video. If you liked it, be sure to go ahead and hit the like button. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be looking forward to more videos like this one as new coasters are announced. That's all I have for today. This has been the Amusement Park Guide, and until next time, we are all clear and out of here. See you later, guys.